All right, creatures of the night, welcome to Talking Taker, episode 181 of our encyclopedic exploration, digging up the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all time, The Undertaker. My name is Alex Dorio. I want to thank you for joining us for yet another round of Dead Man Talking. And I am joined, as always, by my tag team partner, my wrestling buddy. He is the crown jewel of this podcast, Mr. Travis White. Travis, we are talking about the first ever Crown Jewel event from 2018. It's the Brothers of Destruction versus DX. And to borrow a phrase from the Hall of Famer Mark Henry's classic theme song, somebody about to get their wig split here tonight.
Exactly. Dude, if you didn't say it, I was going to say it. Dude, it's so perfect. Somebody is going to get their wig split in this match, that's for sure. Like, that, it's so good. I can't wait.
This match has become legendary in the past 2.5 years, and perhaps not for the best reasons, but you know what? We're here to give it a fresh spin. We're here to give it a fresh look. We come into all of these shows, all of these episodes, all of these matches open-minded, so we're going to re-examine this match. I mean, certainly a headline-worthy match.
A bald headline.
Definitely. Quite a few bald heads. With the Brothers of Destruction against DX for the first time ever. But, of course, the real headline is Shawn Michaels doing the unthinkable, coming out of retirement, say it ain't so, after 8 years on the shelf, stepping into the ring for the very first time.
Yeah, that's big news. Big news. And we'll get to that in a few minutes here and talk about that and the impact it had and how it blew my wig back for sure. So
no doubt about it.
Pun intended.
Well, we do have a lot of ground to cover, as always. You know how we do it on this show. We've been doing it for 181 episodes, and this is our final one covering the Brothers of Destruction. A lot of history between these two guys. Last time they will ever team up here, so we'll dig it all up. We'll go through all the build-up. We'll discuss the match, give our thoughts on it, and so we'll take this time traveling hearse all the way back, not too far, to October of 2018, and we're going to pick up right after that last World Tour match over in Australia at the Super Showdown, where Triple H got a win over The Undertaker, but the Brothers of Destruction got the last laugh over DX, putting Shawn Michaels through a table and walking out standing tall after that match. Head to the bar, down on a couple Fostas, like they like to do, getting a few bloomin' onions, and although I was corrected by some of our Australian listeners, Travis. I had multiple ones after I posted my image of the Fosters that I was drinking this weekend, watching this match back, telling me they don't drink those in Australia.
Nah, that doesn't surprise me.
Doesn't surprise me either.
That's like no one in France eats French fries. Like that's not a thing.
What?
I don't think so.
Just blew my mind.
I don't think so. I don't know. I'm just saying. It's like one of those things. Like, it's probably not from Australia.
They don't eat deep fried onions either, apparently. I was told.
What? That's disappointing to hear.
Sad.
I thought for sure that was a staple.
Yeah.
I thought that every family in the entire continent cut their onions that way and ate it.
They do. Well, they do throw their boomerangs out every weekend. So that's the afternoon activity.
It's like such stereotypical stuff.
Yeah, we're terrible. Anyway, we will continue our world tour as we bounce back over to Saudi Arabia for this next match. But first, we're going to fly all the way back to the States, man. How crazy is this?
It's nuts.
They do this pay-per-view in Australia on Saturday, and they've got Raw in Chicago on Monday. Yeah. Man, can you imagine the jet lag?
No, and it's not like Chicago is Central Time, so it's not like they're coming to Eastern Time. Like they're going over one more time zone, So that's big, man. That's
pretty rough.
It's got to be a long day and a long night. I hope they got the rest of the week off. Well, no, they would have had SmackDown on Tuesday.
Yeah, probably not.
That's very impressive, honestly. Very impressive.
I forgot to say this a couple weeks back when we did the Greatest Royal Rumble show, but I was actually in the airport with some of the guys when they were coming back from that Saudi Arabia show. I was in Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
No, I was in Austin with my dad that same weekend, and we flew back on Sunday, and I was in the restroom at the urinal next to Big E and Xavier Woods in the airport in Atlanta, and then walked out. I saw somebody else. I know I saw Luke Gallows, and I feel like there's another wrestler I saw there, but I was like, but I didn't want to talk to him. Like, I kind of wanted to go up to Gallows and just give him a too sweet or something, and he might have been cool about it, but I just was thinking like, oh, they just flew back from Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Like, they've probably been on a plane for 15 hours, man. He's on the phone. He's waiting for his luggage. I'm just like, I could go give him a too sweet or something, but I'm just going to let him be. But I just thought it was funny. What are the odds, man?
Oh, yeah, exactly. That you happen to be there at the same exact time. So
yeah,
I remember you telling me that back then. That's funny. I totally forgot about that. So, because I remember you saying the same thing. Like Gallows was the one you thought you could have approached, but you just chose not to. So.
Yeah. I always hear they don't like to be bothered at the airport. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So. Anyway, back to Raw, October 8th, 2018, and Triple H is going to open the show here on this night, and very tellingly, he is no longer wearing his suit and tie. He is no longer the COO on this night. He is the King of Kings. He's got that music playing, and he's got that leather jacket, t-shirt, and jeans, looking like he's straight out of an 80s movie, and he's ready to fight here tonight.
It's like the villain in a Patrick Swayze movie or something. Roadhouse 3 straight to video.
Well, at least his outfit makes him look cool compared to Shawn Michaels as Shawn comes out next. And he makes his entrance, and Triple H points to him, and he comes out. And Triple H, his promo is a little bit ridiculous here tonight, man. I couldn't quite...
Yeah.
I kind of got lost taking my notes from it, but
me too.
He talks about climbing a mountain and how you climb that mountain year after year, step by step, inch by inch, and how him and Shawn made it to the summit of that mountain, but then an avalanche landed on them, and they had to wonder if climbing that mountain was really worth it. And I guess he's talking about The Undertaker and Kane?
I guess.
I don't know. He's just kind of rambling here. And then he throws to a video package talking about that Super Showdown match, and he starts to talk about respect. Triple H says, respect is a word that's lost a lot of significance lately. He talks about the many ways that respect can be found and earned in this business. And then Shawn Michaels grabs the mic and says, sometimes you respect someone for who they used to be and what they used to represent. He says the flight home from Melbourne to Chicago was a long flight, and he had plenty of time to sit there and think about the beatdown that they received at the Super Showdown. He had a long time to think about the last 8.5 years of his life. He had a long time to think about the last 8.5 years of honoring his word out of respect. And he found out at Super Showdown that respect never really existed at all. Ooh, yeah. So if you'll recall last week, Shawn Michaels said he was a man of his word.
Yep.
He made such a big deal to tell us that he was never going to go back on his promise of retirement.
Yes.
And it meant so much to him, and he was going to restore that credibility to that word here. But all it took was Triple H asking Shawn Michaels 3 words when they got off of that plane from Chicago.
What up, dude? Is that what he said?
That was not quite it. He might as well have. Shawn Michaels was asked by Triple H, "Are you ready?" And Triple H gets on the mic and says, "Those words were not for Shawn, because I already know he's ready. The question is for Undertaker and Kane. The question is for Crown Jewel. Are you ready?" And Shawn says, D-Generation X is ready. But Brothers of Destructions, I say this with absolutely no respect at all. If you're not down with that, we got 2 words for you. And the crowd's going to fill in the blank there as
Oh,
Shawn and Hunter, they rip off their t-shirts to reveal some brand new DX merchandise. Never losing the chance to sell some new merch, man. And
exactly.
They're cool shirts, but dude, how cool would this have been if it was just like the classic DX logo, man? That would have been so much better. Like
that. Yeah.
Sell your new shirt next week, but like you're bringing DX back for the last time, man. Just take it off, reveal the logo that we all know. Like, I feel
like the one that like WrestleMania 14, classic, that logo, like the 97, 98 logo. That would have been awesome, man.
But besides all that, dude, this was shocking. It was rumored for a long time. We all kind of thought it might happen. But, dude, for me at least, this was the unthinkable, man. Shawn, he said it in his promo a couple weeks ago, but it was true. Like, he's the one guy that had honored his word, that had not come back for retirement. And as much as we loved him and were huge fans of him, it was kind of special. And it kind of meant something that he had honored his word and kept that retirement. So it was just like, it's exciting, but also disappointing in a way. And also, but it is intriguing. Like, dude, can he pull it off? Can he do it?
Yeah, exactly. It was, like you said, mixed emotions because, like you said, one part, I'm hanging on to the fact that he, aside from Austin, who can't get back in the ring, as much as we know, he's a guy who probably still could, but wasn't because he wasn't going to go back on that word, like you said. And I respected that. We all did. But then hearing him, like you said, it's kind of like, oh, man, it's kind of exciting to think about it, but do I really want to see it? Because I kind of would rather him stay retired, but I get it. But I want to talk briefly for a second about actually an HBK interview from the Sam Roberts podcast. It was I think it was in April of 2017 maybe. So it was a year and a half before this. It was around April 6th or 7th, I think, of that year. But during it, he talks about how he views his entire WWE run as one story. And that's one thing you and I talk about on the show is the storytelling aspect. Is what drives us to continue to be fans despite some of the bad stuff, is holding out hope for a good story. But anyway, he talks about how, like he looks at when he arrived there, being the Rockers with Marty, turning on Marty, all that. Like that's the same. It's the same character. It's not like he's had change a gimmick, and even when he changes stuff, it's the same guy, and it's the same one, running through. And he's talked about that all the way till he was retired, and he said that, I just can't imagine any kind of creative justification to make a return. And then here's literally a quote from that episode. He says, I could never get past the creative character stuff that I really enjoyed doing. I just can't justify making money over that perfect sort of arc and ending and everything. It just doesn't seem right to me. And so that was in April of 2017. And so obviously at the time he meant it, and I'm sure he still meant it, but I know for me that interview, like I remember telling you, like, dude, you gotta listen to it. Like, it's a really cool interview, like just because he just laid it all out there. And I was like, man, I respect like him not wanting to go back on that, and that chapter closed at his retirement, and it was one story, and I loved that. But then to hear him coming back, it was kind of like, dang it, man. Like, you're going to go back on all you said. It was perfect. Why do I have to come back? But if there is a storyline reason, they do make it make sense. It's not just like him coming in to have a match of the year with AJ Styles. Would I love to see that? Absolutely, because those are two of the best in-ring performers of all time. But that wouldn't have had a story if it is the same character. If that Shawn Michaels guy is the same one from the late 80s. This one actually makes sense. So I do see how, I guess, in his mind he can justify it. But, like, I don't know, man. That quote just stood out to me in 2017. I haven't forgotten it. And, it was big.
What did we learn from the man who brought The Undertaker into the WWE, Ted DiBiase?
Oh, yes.
Everybody's got a price.
Exactly. Exactly. You're exactly
I'll never be able to do that laugh as well as Ted DiBiase.
No, nobody can. He's the
greatest.
Man.
He's the greatest.
But yeah, man. So definitely, I was so like happy in 2017 when I heard that, and then really, really mixed emotions for me hearing it here. But like I said, kind of intrigued though. Can he do it?
Oh,
because he did come back from 4 years off.
Yeah,
he came back from 4 years off and was better than he was his first part of his career. His his 2002 run on was the best part of his
Yeah.
career, in my opinion.
If anybody in the world could come back at his age after 8 years off and
Mm-hmm.
pull out a great match, it would be him.
Yep, exactly. Exactly. So anyway, that's that. But that's going to lead us into the next week of Raw. This is October 15th, and so we get a recap of DX's return and them challenging the Brothers of Destruction. Then we see a vignette backstage, and it is something else, man. This is
yes.
Bruce Pritchard wasn't back with the company yet, but this has like 1993 Bruce Pritchard stuff all over it. It is
Dude.
corny and hokey and lame and cheesy and weird, and in fact they're going to get called out on that next week, but
that's saying something for an Undertaker promo, man.
Exactly.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah, it's not in a graveyard, which would make sense or something like that. They did that last week's episode, but there's this creepy music, and we seen Taker and Kane like walking through like the bowels of some building, and then Taker's like, you DX wants to talk to us about respect, and Kane's like, our respect for you guys died with your dishonesty. Again, I'm kind of fumbling trying to figure out what he's talking about too. He says that Taker says that Shawn claims he stayed away out of respect, but he knows deep down in his soul that what kept him away was fear. And Kane says, it was fear that Shawn would make him feel worthless, and then fear is going to put Shawn down again so deep that he can never return. And they just says Taker's going to humiliate him again. And Taker says, when we meet at Crown Jewel, all of your fears will come true. And then Kane says, Triple H may have won the battle in Australia, but you started a war that's going to end at Crown Jewel. And then Triple H can go back to the boardroom, and HBK can go back to retirement. And then Kane says that DX had 3 words for them, so they've got 3 words for DX.
Go foot.
Oh, rest.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Peace. Yes. But there is that hilarious outtake on the last ride where they
yes.
Yeah. Taker does drop that on. So that was hilarious to watch that outtake. I wish they would have played that one actually on Raw.
Me too. It would have been so much better.
It may have redeemed
to a new level. Yeah, dude, there's so many cuts and like it's so
weird.
Verbose. Like it's too much, man. It's too much.
It's way too much, man. Especially for such a historic thing as Shawn coming out of retirement. Like it just is too much.
But I will say, at least it wasn't one of like the selfie promos they were doing around this time, where the words were popping up on the screen. Like, oh my god! Thank God they never had to do one of those.
Yeah, that is true.
Those were terrible.
So it could have been worse.
Could have been worse. So we move on to the next week, October 22nd, 2018, and the truly memorable thing about this episode of Raw is it is the night where Roman Reigns comes out and breaks kayfabe and relinquishes the Universal title and lets us all know that he's been battling leukemia and goes away for like 3 or 4 months here, and just a really shocking moment, really heartfelt moment, and thankfully he's he's recovered and he's still around with us to this day. But man, it was a scary time for a while. Oh yeah, for sure.
It was.
For sure.
I don't think I was watching it live. I think you texted me and you said like, "Wow, Roman" or something. And I was like, "What?" And you said, "Just you gotta watch it." And I turned it on and found some ridiculous website to rewind it on and watch it, and started watching it, and I was like, man, this is real. So, but yeah, it was I wanted to throw that in there and talk about it just because, man, it's it's fake or whatever, but like this was a real moment, and you don't get a lot of these. And again, the crowd, it's fine to hear the crowd turn. Like they're booing him when he comes out as a Universal Championship, and by the end of it, they're chanting "Thank you, Roman," because it's real, So
yeah,
it was big night.
In a way, it certainly added to his legacy, and we still got some more Roman to talk about here in a few weeks. So we'll get back to him, and obviously an important part of the Undertaker's legacy, no doubt about it. So it turned him babyface for a lot of people, for sure. And obviously that's not the intention, but it definitely made us all appreciate him and respect him a lot more. But to move past that, we had DX coming on later in the show, and we got a couple of 50-year-old dudes coming out with glow sticks in the middle of this episode of Raw.
Dude, nothing sells me on a pay-per-view like a bunch of 50-year-old guys a week before Halloween throwing glow sticks around.
So stupid, man. But we do get like the classic music and the video effects, which I mean, I'll mark out for that.
Oh yeah,
till the day
always.
I die. But I can't get on board with the glow sticks. Man, at least they didn't have Hornswoggle out there with them.
Oh golly. Oh, that would have been done unless Kane chokeslammed him or something.
Yeah. Well, Hunter says there's a lot of big words being thrown about between promos between these few guys lately. Words like fear.
Wait a minute. Big words?
Yeah. That's big like for Triple H, man.
Yeah, he does. He takes his name and spells it with 3 letters. So, yeah, anything above that is
a 4-letter word.
Yeah, he says big words like fear. And I was like,
I didn't even pick up on that.
Kidding me, man. I don't know.
That's true. Triple H says it's going to take a lot more to instill fear in the two of them than taking a GoPro, going down on your lunch break, and going into the Knoxville City Hall and finding the boardroom and cutting a promo, which was fantastic. Fantastic line from Triple H.
Oh, it's so good. Because that's exactly what it looked like.
Yeah.
It was so bad. Yeah.
But HBK, he cracked me up even more after that. He says the two of them are not running for mayor. And then he says, there's another big word that's been going around, nostalgia. And that ain't a Greek word for new merch. And I popped for that. I laughed at that.
Absolutely.
At least he admits it.
Oh, yeah.
And then Sean, he says, nostalgia is just a polite way of saying old. And Triple H says, nostalgia-wise, there's a new movie out called Halloween that's #1 at the box office right now.
Yeah.
And I just put in my notes, what? I don't even remember that. And
oh, yeah.
Which, okay, sure.
After 40 years, another Halloween was #1 at the box office.
Great.
Crazy.
I don't know what that says about Triple H and Shawn Michaels. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But he says a few weeks ago they packed 70,000 people into Australia to see some nostalgia. And he says maybe saying that they're old is actually a polite way of saying they're better. And Triple H says they've been running the X of DX for 20 years, but when you see that X now, it means they're better than everybody else. And there's another X that they represent that speaks to the future. And Sean says they're running that too. And the crowd fills in the blanks and starts chanting NXT, NXT. So, yeah, Triple H and Sean are putting over. They ran the business in the past, and guess what? They're going to run the business in the future pretty much.
Yep.
And they're going to bring that X to Crown Jewel, and they ain't coming for nostalgia. They're coming to kick a little you-know-what. Sean says they got 2 words for the Brothers of Destruction, but then the lights begin to flicker. We hear the gong. The lights go out, and the gong strikes again. And then we go back to the graveyard. So we went to the graveyard a couple weeks ago. We're going back to the graveyard now, and Kane and Taker are standing at an open grave. And Taker says, pride goes before destruction. Kane says, arrogance goes before the fall. And Taker says, the DX reunion will be the vessel of their total annihilation. Taker says, Crown Jewel, they will unleash utter contempt on DX. Kane says, Triple H.
So many Vince words in this.
It's so over the top, man. Like, Kane says Triple H should have stayed away. Sean should have stayed retired. He can't turn back the clock. He can't escape the Reaper. And so we cut out and we see some headstones for Shawn Michaels and Triple H in the graveyard. And Undertaker says their first match against them will be their last match against anyone. And their black and blistered souls will be dead for all eternity. And Kane says they will be forever tormented in the deepest pits of hell. And they start digging dirt on the grave as Taker says they will never rest in peace. And yes, this was all just so much like their promo last week, man. Like, all these guys, DX too, they're all just talking too much, man. It's all, for all these old school guys who talk about, oh, we don't need a script. We just go out there and we just shoot from the hip. All this stuff is so scripted.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
not terrible, but it's a little bit too much, man. It's a little bit over the top. It does
Yeah.
not. It's I don't know, man. It's not clicking for me quite the same.
The verbiage isn't. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
excited to see them tangle to get
sure.
like to lock up, and like I said, if Sean's coming back, it makes sense. These guys have been so intertwined since 1997. I mean, seriously, since '97, these four guys have been intertwined, so it makes sense. But yeah, the verbiage is just so they're just trying too hard. You don't
Yep.
even have to try with this. You could literally talk about what I just said. All four of these guys have been involved since '97 together. Like this is going to be the end of it. It's just I don't know. There's so much more. There's an easier road to travel, and they chose this really ridiculously hard one to try to like reinvent the wheel. And it's like you don't have
Yes.
to do that.
Yes. Exactly.
So, um, well, speaking of reinventing the wheel, WWE does that. Like a few days later, they actually have the first and only up to this point all women's pay per view. So, which is great. I thought it was a great show. I didn't wasn't Watch on Tommy
Tommy.
there?
He
Yeah,
said he
he
was
was
there.
there.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I'd do another one, but like I want to say that to say that the women weren't allowed to be on the Saudi show we're gonna get to, so it was good that they had this here, and they will be on a Saudi show later on, which was another huge momentous occasion. But we're talking about the evolution of the business as well, so it was really cool that they had enough talent to hold a women's pay per view, and B that it was actually really good. Like I really enjoyed it, and some of the I mean, really, really good show. But anyway,
Yeah. Like, can you
that's
imagine in 1999 them doing an all women's show? It would have been like Girls
oh,
Gone Wild or something.
11.
Like.
That's exactly what it would have been. It would have been a nightmare. Yeah, they would not
Oh,
be able to
sounds like my
replay
dream come true. I don't know what you're talking about.
it. They want to replay it on the network. Yeah, it would have been nuts. So,
Wouldn't be on
um,
Peacock. You don't think?
no. Well, I don't know. There's probably a lot of stuff on there, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that brings us to the next night, October 29th. So again, also that just brings me to talking about how many shows they're promoting at one
Yeah.
time too. They were pushing. They just got done with Australia. They pushed the women's pay per view. Then they're doing this one. Then right after this is Survivor Series. It's just so much going on. So anyway,
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit last week
yeah,
too.
yeah.
It's just like, yeah, it's
They
too.
just cram a lot of stuff.
And that's why a lot of this buildup it just seems like there's not as much focus to it because they've got so much
Yeah.
other stuff going on. It's hard for them to really dig into anything.
Yeah, exactly. So the next night on October 29th, it's the go home show, and the main event segment's announced. It's going to be DX and Bros of Destruction together in the ring, face to face, and at the end, Kane comes out first and stops on the stage, and then Taker comes out again. Great ovation. As people know, it's his waning days. His career's winding down. So anytime you get to see him is a big deal. So he's got his sleeveless hoodie jacket on, like he wore back at Raw 25, and they come down to the ring, and commentary's just putting over these guys like as if you've never seen them wrestle before, like just how big and destructive they are, and how much they just run through their opponents, and which is true. We talked about that a long time ago on here. Just these guys should never be beaten almost. Like they're just ridiculous. But anyway, got a good ovation, and the crowd just chanting Undertaker. I just saw poor Kane in my note. Like he's always going to be the second banana. He's never going to be Kane like by himself. No one's chanting Kane. They're always chanting Undertaker. But he's the mayor. He's got something else going on. So. But Taker says, it's not easy to heed this call or say goodbye, but when the Reaper calls, it's your time to go. And Kane says something about, man, he's like, I can hear our names being whispered in the distance, and as time goes by, it gets louder, and then it becomes a deafening cry. And again, they're just trying too much, man. And Taker says Friday that we're going to take on DX for the first time, and it's going to be the last time. We're going to take him to the fiery gates of hell. So again, just putting those stuff over the top. And he says that Taker actually becomes a prophet right here, and he perfectly predicts the future with this quote he says, and I wrote it in my notes in bold, so I want to make sure we get it in there. He says, "It won't be swift, it will be slow, agonizing pain." It's just like, how did he know?
And then he also says,
He
"It will
also
not
says
be the end of an era. It will be the end of an error," which was like,
Hey, dad joke Taker. Yeah.
dad joke walking.
Yeah, that was something else, man. But yeah, he prophesied what's going to happen on Friday, and then just dropped the dad joke there. So love it. But then Taker says, they could never rest, and then DX music cuts him off. They come out. Triple H is, of course, tossing glow sticks, taking it so seriously, tossing glow sticks in the crowd, and looks around and does like the Scott Hall point to the back, and Kane is not going to wait. He's going to go up the ramp after Triple H, and Taker kind of realizes at this point what's going on and turns around, and Shawn's behind him, and Shawn ducks a clothesline, and then he hits Sweet Chin music on Taker and does, the DX chops and dips out of the ring real quick as Kane slides in, and DX kind of rally on the outside, and they're taunting the Brothers of Destruction, and Taker sits up, and as his music hits, and DX just act like they've never seen that before, and like they've seen a ghost, and they have no idea what's going on, and they're showing a little bit of like they're in peril. So they kind of stare off at each other as we go off the air. So that is the main event segment heading into this. That's the one they're building this.
Oh yeah,
that's the main event of this show we're about to talk about. So
let me go back and compliment something that Undertaker does here, because I know we're making fun of a lot of stuff and we've got some more negative stuff to talk about, but when Triple H points to the back and Undertaker is about to get attacked by Shawn Michaels, he realizes what's happening. And so when he turns around, he knows Shawn Michaels is there, and he goes swinging at him, but he just gets caught with Sweet Chin music. And I just thought, man, that's a little touch. So many young guys could watch that, because how often does that happen in wrestling? It's just like, somebody's behind me, I had no idea. And you just they act so shocked. Taker knew. He was he was ready for the fight, but the Sweet Chin music was just too much. And that little stuff helps you respect Undertaker more, helps you get into that character more, just adds to the believability to it, makes him doesn't make him look like a goof.
He's not left with egg on his face. Yeah.
Yes.
Because a lot of times baby faces are left to look like an idiot at the end of stuff. For some reason they are, not the heels. And it's hard to recover when you're a baby face and look like an idiot. The crowd will turn on you.
A little thing like that can help keep your heat.
Yeah, I'm glad you point. I kind of glossed over that when I was going over, but yeah, that's something he definitely does, and it's definitely noticeable, because we both wrote it in our notes. It's noticeable that he actually knows what's about to happen, and he's ready for it. So but still can't withstand it. He gets hit on the chin anyway. So.
Well, like I said, I'll compliment that, because we'll probably have some not so nice things to say here. But here we go. Crown Jewel 2018, November 2nd, 2018. This is a different arena from the first Saudi pay-per-view. This is King Saud University Stadium in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia here. And Travis, I have never seen this match in completion until I watched it this weekend.
I didn't realize that.
Saw all the memes and the videos of all the embarrassing moments of it, because I was not able to watch it live, but I saw all that on social media, and I was just like, I can't bring myself to watch it. I know we're gonna have to for the podcast, but I just was so it was so sad and upsetting to see that sort of stuff that I just I couldn't bring myself to watch it at the time.
That's so funny, man. I didn't realize that until we were talking about it, that you hadn't seen it. So I do specifically remember watching. I watched most all of this show, not at the time it airs. I think it was 5 in the morning or 2 in the morning, something 9 in the morning. I don't know. Anyway, it was a random time, but I did get to see it eventually. No, actually, this is the day that my daughter was born, so I definitely didn't see it this day.
Probably not.
Yeah, I watched it later. Yeah, she was actually born this day. So it was her birthday. So yeah, I was busy not watching. I did watch it later on.
I hope you picked that over this match.
Oh yeah, most definitely. She was born at 5 in the morning, so I probably could have watched the show live.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, it was some big things happened, and of course, we're going to talk about some controversy surrounding it, but there's some good and obviously a lot of bad to discuss here.
You had Hulk Hogan coming back for the first time since being blacklisted.
Yep.
If you know what I mean. And then this Shane McMahon winning the best in the world, which was the most bonkers thing ever. But it ended up paying off, actually. It didn't seem like it at the time, but it actually was part of a storyline, weirdly enough.
It was, strangely enough.
And then, there was a lot of controversy about this pay-per-view. Not only just the big the big money that they were getting in at the time. That was sort of a controversy with the last Saudi pay-per-view, but there was actually a journalist in Saudi Arabia that was killed by the Saudi Arabian government just a couple days before this pay-per-view. So it was kind of like national news and a lot of pressure on WWE to pull out of this event and their deal in Saudi Arabia. And of course, Vince doesn't do that because, he never does. But it's not. We don't have to spend a lot of time talking about it, but that was definitely a thing that was going on in the show. And, for me personally, it was another reason why sort of my fandom in modern day WWE was kind of just continued to wane just because of all, like, it was just kind of disappointing to me to see them just be so committed to this money that they, couldn't take a stand against something pretty horrific that was going on. And it just kind of grossed me out a little bit. It was another reason why I didn't really want to watch this show at the time.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just glad I wasn't in the meetings making decisions about stuff. But
I'm sure.
It just kind of
it's not an easy decision.
Is what it is at this point, unfortunately. But the show did go on, like you said, despite the controversy. And it was. Everybody has their opinions about that. And but like I said, it was national news. I mean, it wasn't like it was. This was being covered by all kind of media outlets. Yeah. So it'd be hard to just gloss over it and not mention it because it was a big deal. So
and I will say in a positive note that we've got Michael Cole, Corey Graves, and Renee Young on the commentary for this event, which was a pretty big deal at the time because of the Saudi Arabian restrictive policies on the roles that women could play in their society. So that was a pretty big step forward for them to be able to have Renee Young sitting there and doing commentary.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. So to put something positive on it. So it's a big deal, but this whole night is just weird. The whole show is just strange, and there's the 51 person battle royal. So not
all these Saudi shows are just
50, and
they're so weird.
Yeah, they just kind of exist in a alternate timeline. It seems like. Which is one way you could kind of say, Sean never came back. He didn't really just exist in an alternate, like a deleted scene that we're not supposed to actually see, like from a movie. But anyway, I will tell you this, man. As soon as the graphic appears on the screen for this match, like coming up as a main event, like the crowd just goes bananas, man. Like these guys in Riyadh are just jonesing for this match, man. They want to see this match, so that is cool too. We get a video package recapping everything since Super Showdown, and it's got a great production because it's got clips of them from back in '97 all the way till now, and just their various interactions and whatnot. So it's done well, like every other video package. They know how to hype a match with absolutely no build up. So.
You're absolutely right, man. I put in my notes as well that this crowd is hot for this match. I don't know what their history is seeing WWE in their country. I don't know how true of fans they really are in this crowd, but dude, they're hyped for DX. Yeah. They're hyped when Brothers of Destruction come out. They're hyped for all the face-offs. It honestly is a pretty good crowd here tonight. As DX is going to come out first, making their way out for a match for the first time in 8 years as a team. The first time, period, for Shawn Michaels in 8 years. They brought the glow sticks over to Saudi Arabia. They've got matching vests. They got some cool light effects going on in the ring. And besides the glow sticks, you got to say this is a cool moment, dude. You really...
Oh, yeah.
One of the greatest of all times, trying to recapture the magic 8 years later. Whether you think you should or you shouldn't, it's pretty special and pretty cool to see. And you can see he's excited about it, too.
Exactly. I was about to say that. Whether you think that he should or shouldn't, it doesn't matter because he did, and he's excited about it on this night. You can tell, you can see it coming off his face, and commentary's excited about it too. They're just raving about it, and they're giving each other double too sweet in the ring, and they're just really soaking it in. And one thing that's interesting about this Saudi crowd is like when they cheer or pop or something, it's quick. It's loud, but it's quick. Like in America, they're kind of sustained and they cheer and keep. But like, did you notice that? Like when as we're about to talk about Kane Taker's entrance, it's like boom, like the gong goes off. It's like rah, boom, and it just dies. Like it's so quick. It's
I
so
didn't
funny
notice
to me
it,
to
but
notice that.
yeah, you're right. It was like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny, man. But I noticed that on the last one, and we'll notice it as we keep going too to another one. So, but anyway, of course, Sean removes his hat. He's got his freshly shaved head here. He hasn't grown any peach fuzz out,
No,
so he's
not
just
yet.
gonna go with it. So, but and again, like we mentioned last week, for not having been in the ring in 8 years, he looks in great shape. You know, like we mentioned last week. I think you mentioned last week. We could tell he's getting ready for something, but
Oh yeah.
he's definitely kept himself in ring shape, for sure.
Yep, no doubt about it. As he comes out, he tries to run his hands through his hair, and he's just like, oh,
Yeah.
never mind. So he's still got that sense of humor, which is cool. And then the Brothers of Destruction are going to make their entrance. Kane comes out, and we see this massive crown jewel stage, all sorts of lighting effects and flames all over the stadium, honestly.
Yeah.
As he comes out, and then he's going to stop at the bottom of the ramp, and then the gong is going to hit.
Yeah, it hits like 10 times, like over and over. It's really cool. Like it's not just the gong and music hits. Like they let it go, and I like that. And every time it's like gong, the crowd just cheers. And these giant flames, like you said, this entranceway, this set is impressive. It's second to none, production values wise. But as Taker finally his music hits, and we see like a wall of smoke, and his silhouette pops up, in the distance, and there's purple lights and lasers going out, and I feel like I was looking at Stone Mountain again, like we talked about before. But he's got, he shows up, and the crowd cheers for him, and he's got his sleeveless hooded cloak he's had, and looking like it's 2010 here, and just huge flames shooting up, and I just can't put over the production wise. We talked about that from day one on this podcast, just how much they invest in his entrances in and of itself.
Yeah, talking about that, Taker and Kane kind of stop together at the bottom of the ramp, and they stand there for a few seconds, and stare down HBK and Triple H inside the ring, and we get some great shots going back and forth between these four legends facing off, and Michael Cole's comparing them to the Cowboys of the Old West, about to have a shootout here. And dude, I don't care what your thoughts are about this match. I don't care what your thoughts are about Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement, about these four old dudes about to wrestle each other in 2018. Dude, I'm the most cynical guy about this sort of stuff and about this whole pay-per-view, but I had goosebumps watching this, man. Just seeing these four guys, even 3 years later, just seeing these shots and thinking about this, man, their history with each other, their history on their own as individuals, man. Like, like Mike Tyson came back and fought last year, and like you could say, dude, he does not need to be fighting, but the second you see him coming down the aisleway, if you're not getting goosebumps, man, like I don't know who you are. Like it's just like, dang, all right, man, I'm in. And that was the same way for this, dude. I could, cynical as you could be about it, but once I'm seeing that shot, I'm like, I'm kind of excited about it.
Yeah, exactly, man. I'm glad you said that, because it is true, man. If you don't get excited to see these, you're not going to expect a 5-star classic with these four. I mean, you would if it was 15 years earlier, but you're not. They're 50 years old. Like, what you're getting. But yeah, just the pomp and circumstance of it. And in fact, Taker raises the lights, and we see this tremendous fireworks display shoot off from the top of the stadium. And like, if you can't get excited about this, man, like, I just don't know how you call yourself a true fan. I really don't.
If you're
man.
our age, like I could see if you're 10 years old and you're just like, who are these old farts, like main event in a pay-per-view right now? But if you're our age, you lived through the Attitude Era, like, how could you not be excited for this?
Right, just excited for this part at least. The match is going to be what it is, but this part is to get you pumping. And like you said, Cole reiterates it's the first time these two have ever met in a tag team match. Which, if you think about it, I mean, I guess by the time Taker was, I guess he was still the big evil character when Shawn came back, but They could have tagged up at that point a little bit, but
But they
DX
weren't
wasn't
really
back together
DX. Yeah.
until 2006. So they really,
Yeah.
and he was already back to Deadman. So there really was no opportunity for them to have tagged against each other,
Yeah.
because
For as
Sean,
legendary as these two teams are, neither one of them were ever together for like long
they didn't
chunks of
exist.
time.
Yeah, and they didn't exist at the same time and
No.
space, because when Sean, they wrestled Sean's last match in '98 was the same night that Taker and Kane wrestled each other the first time. So
Yeah.
they weren't on the same team. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So yeah, they wouldn't have been able to exist together. So
Kind of crazy.
anyway, yeah.
Well, DX gets out of the ring for a second as Taker and Kane get in it, and Taker disrobes and all that sort of stuff. And Triple H starts to get on the stairs, but Taker just like walks up to him and gets in his face and stares him down. It's a nice little touch. And there's we said it before, there's just a buzz throughout this stadium, man. It's just kind of, you can hear the electricity and the excitement in it here as all four guys have a face down in the ring, and referee John Cone is trying to keep them separate. And the crowd is already chanting, "This is awesome," before this match even starts.
Before it even starts, which is true. It is awesome to see these guys in the ring together. And one thing I want to mention, too, I mentioned it a long time ago about working tag matches. You got the babyface side and the heel side. Babyface side is usually the ones facing the hard cam. The heel side, their back's facing the hard cam. So DX on the babyface side and Brothers of Destruction on the heel side, which
Interesting.
I can imagine. Usually Taker's up there on the babyface side, but it's Sean's first match back. I imagine that's why they put him up there. So and again, the Brothers of Destruction kind of went heelish on him, in the last pay-per-view and chokeslammed him and turned on him or whatever. So I understand, but I just want to note that it is kind of interesting because usually we're used to seeing Taker and Kane up in that corner, So, and the number one trend worldwide was WWE Crown Jewel. How about that?
Hashtag WWE Crown Jewel.
Excuse me.
Come on now.
Excuse me.
Twitterless Travis.
Yeah.
Well, they do separate. They back into their corners and decide that Kane and Triple H are going to start things off here and fight over the honor of Katie Vick, I guess, as we start this match off.
Rekindling that fire.
Of course.
Oh, God. There's so much history in this match.
So much history. Triple H is, interestingly, he's acting a little heelish as we start off here. He's getting in Kane's face, and then he starts pointing at Undertaker and is talking trash at him. And Triple H strikes first, but Kane just no-sells it. And Triple H just starts to back off like Ric Flair style, but Kane tosses him in the corner. Triple H reverses it. He goes for a crotch chop, but Kane just uppercuts him down.
Yeah, it's so good. And then Irish whips Triple H and splashes him in the corner, and he starts working on that left arm and goes to tag Taker, but Triple H actually pulls him away, so he can't make that tag yet, which I'm glad they didn't get him in yet. So, and then Triple H goes to tag Sean, but Kane stops it, and they kind of like do-si-do with the arm around the ring. It's kind of, I don't know if someone was supposed to Irish whip somebody else or what, but it was kind of just spin around the ring for a second. It was kind of awkward.
Yeah. But Triple H ends up dragging Kane into the corner, and just like a pro, dude, he's kind of like asking the crowd, "Do you want it? Do you want it? Like, you ready for me to tag Sean in?" And they're here for it. Gets them excited about it, and finally tags Shawn Michaels into a ring for the first time in 8 years, and he comes straight off the top rope with a double axe handle for his very first move since WrestleMania 26, officially, in an official match.
Right.
So here he goes, man. He is officially out of retirement. And then Kane goozles him. Shawn ducks and chops him into the corner. That's going to be his favorite move of the night, is the knife edge chop, dude. He hits a million of these. And he gets a neck breaker, and he's fired up, man. He's feeling good, looking good so far.
He is, man. He's looking good, except he could have used a wig. But other than that, man, he's looking great in the ring. Yeah, I just think it's funny how his first move back was a double axe handle. I just love it. It's just such an old school thing, man. I love that. Like,
True.
It wasn't one of his signature, like, spots, like the diving forearm or anything. I love that it was just something old school. It was great. So, and then, sorry. Yeah, he's fired up, and Kane sits up, and Kane goozles him, but Sean chops him some more. Like you said, there's just so many chops coming, and Sean hits a sunset flip over him, but Kane actually powers through and picks him up and goes for a power slam, but then Sean slips out and goes for sweet chin music, but Kane pulls back because he's seen it coming, and Kane's standing in his corner, and the crowd knows what's coming next. So they're kind of playing that up to should he tag Taker or not. So he eyes Taker, and Shawn kind of taunts him like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, and Kane, he does the same thing as Triple H. He just kind of waits and waits and waits, and the crowd starts to build up, and he finally tags in The Undertaker. So these two guys, with all of their history, they face off in the ring, official match for the first time in 8 years. Triple H is trying to give Shawn Michaels a pep talk. Undertaker gives Shawn the throat slash, and then Shawn gives Taker a crotch chop, and it is on.
Oh, yeah, it's on, man. Taker just immediately hits a big boot, and it kind of stands over Shawn like, all right, you ain't what you used to be, kind of like that. Just kind of eyeing him, and he grabs Shawn's
Shawn does like a double back flip
he
off that.
Yeah, he sells it like he's Dolph Ziggler, man. Like he's trying to compete with Ziggler for who's going to sell the best tonight. So, but he's not going over the top like he did at SummerSlam 05 with Hogan. He's doing it like Shawn Michaels used to, man. Like nobody else can. But Taker works the arm and his shoulder blocks and goes up for old school, but you can't hit it this early in the match. So Triple H comes in and punches him, and Kane's in and he decks Triple H. And at this point, they're all four just kind of going at it in the ring.
They are, and then Undertaker's going to whip Shawn Michaels into the Tree of Woe, and then Kane is going to whip Triple H into Shawn Michaels, and he's going to take a big old Ric Flair bump, flipping over Shawn Michaels all the way to the outside, which looks fantastic. But unfortunately, Triple H is going to go ahead and tear his pectoral muscle in the midst of all of this as he lands on the outside. And that is going to be the beginning of the downfall of this match. Because so far, so good. Like, they're telling a fun story. They're taking their time. It's very old school heat and old school stuff. They're not doing too much, but gosh darn it, man. This is what happens when you only wrestle twice a year and you're in your 50s. And you try to take a bump over the top rope to the outside. And you're injury prone. This is what happens. And, man, it all kind of starts to unravel.
And you can, watching it, I don't think I knew what had happened. I think I kept away from the spoilers and stuff, and so I didn't know what happened. So watching it, I immediately knew, like, something's wrong. You can tell. But he's not going to be put down. He's Triple H. This is the man that finished that epic match on Raw in 2001 with a torn quad. So he's not going to go down.
Yes, but that was at the end of that match. This is 5 minutes in to what I'm sure they planned to be 30 minutes.
Exactly.
That's the problem here.
Yeah, so Taker gets Shawn up in like a double choke lift and throws him and tosses Shawn over the top rope to the outside. And DX kind of reconvenes on the outside, and the brothers look on. You can kind of tell at this point, this is where Triple H is telling Shawn, like, I just tore my pec, dude. Like, something's going on. They kind of are figuring out what to do, what their next move is, leaning against the barricade. And Kane and Taker, just true pros, just improvise and just do the fist raise, the nation domination thing in the ring. The white savior, right? We talked about a long time ago. Put their fist up and the crowd pops for that. But again, it distracts away from what's really happening on the outside with Shawn and Taker trying to figure out, Shawn and Triple H, what to do next, They got a torn pec now.
Well, amazingly, Shawn and Hunter are both hot back in the ring, and Hunter's going to give it a go here. And they actually send Kane and Taker out of the ring, and Brothers of Destruction do a perfect 10 landing together on the outside. And they pull DX out from under the bottom rope and toss them into the barricade on the outside. Undertaker's going to focus on Shawn Michaels for a minute, give him some soup bones, and then toss him back in the ring. And Kane's going to head up back on the apron. Triple H is going to take a breather on the outside and try to recover for a few minutes.
Yeah, you can see Kane talk to the ref about it, and so at this point, Taker slides Shawn back in the ring, and like you said, he's going to hit old school onto him and just really hits it on Shawn. Shawn knows how to sell that move so well. He's taken it so many times and Taker slowly goes over and starts choking Shawn in the corner like it's 91, man. Like it just old school choking him and throwing his hair back. And then John Cone comes over and Taker runs him off, ref intimidation. So they're hitting all the classic spots here, especially
Exactly.
what's about to happen next.
Well,
Taker
I was just gonna say Taker's a professional, man. Like this match is starting to unravel, and he goes back to the old standards, dude.
Yep.
The choking in the corner, referee intimidation. Like he's like, okay, let's just slow things down. We'll call it in the ring. We'll start to figure this out. We'll get it back together here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's gonna run at Shawn, and of course, he always misses this. He guards himself on top rope, just like he used to back in the day. So
Charlie Brown's it.
Exactly, Charlie Brown. But then at this point, Triple H tags in and comes in with some chops. Dude. So he's taking a page out of Shawn's book and chopping away.
Unbelievable,
I know.
Man. Huge respect to Triple H as he continues on with this match. He hits a signature knee lift, but Undertaker's going to no-sell it. He's going to clothesline Hunter. Undertaker's going to wrench the good arm and take Triple H into the corner. He tags in Kane, who gives Triple H an uppercut. Kane gives Triple H a body slam. Like, oh, dude, can you imagine taking that?
No.
But Kane misses an elbow drop, and Kane and Triple H go back and forth, punches and chops. Triple H somehow gets the better of it and nails a DDT on Kane.
Yeah, and again, mad props to Triple H for continuing this match. I bet every single one of those bumps is just sending a shot of lightning through his chest. Like it's just kind of felt terrible. But luckily, he's able to tag Shawn at this point, and Shawn comes in with what? More chops. So he's going to go and hits his version of a running forearm, and then hits a kip up, and it's just he hadn't missed a beat, man. It's been 8.5 years, and he looks the same. It's just. There's only one guy that can do that, and it's him, and he's incredible. But he hits some Manhattan drops or atomic drops, whichever one, I forgot, and he has a couple of those and more chops, and then he actually goes over and chops Taker off the apron. So just one more for good measure there.
He does. He gets him out of there. Triple H comes in the ring, and they do their best to hit a double suplex on Kane. It's tough for Triple H to do that, but they managed to pull it off. And then Shawn continuing to try to recreate the magic as he heads up top and hits that picture-perfect elbow drop, man. It is beautiful as it ever was here. And I'll tell you what, man, up to this point, Triple H is hurt, and I know that's thrown a wrench into things, but taking that into consideration, this match is really good.
Exactly.
They're telling a good story. Triple H is doing what he can. They're covering for it. They're making it work out of this. Like, this match does not suck up to this point.
No, it doesn't. And it's Shawn's comeback, and they're not, it's not, so that's already great in and of itself, So, speaking of that, he's going to start tuning up the band, and Saudi just chant every time he stomps his foot, and they chant 1, 2, 3, which is not really, whatever. But anyway, they're into it, First time he's done that in a match in 8.5 years. So, and even Triple H is stomping on the apron, like, getting the fans into it. So, but Kane's going to catch him, block it, and actually hit a choke slam in the middle of the ring, and Taker tags in, punches Shawn, hits some right hands and headbutts like it's old school time, and then hits the snake eyes, big boot, leg drop, cover for 2. So again, just going back to the old stuff that works, the signature spots that the fans are waiting to see.
Oh yeah, man. Taker's going to signal for the choke slam, but he has to go over and punch Triple H down first. Shawn ends up hitting Sweet Chin Music on Taker, but he kind of falls to the other side away from Taker, and they're both too exhausted here. He's too tired to pin him. Undertaker's going to sit up, and he's going to get up angrily to his feet and toss Shawn Michaels to the floor. That's when he's going to start tearing up both of the announce tables, the Saudi announce table first and then the English one. And Taker's going to get Shawn up on top of the Saudi announce table, picks him up, but Triple H ends up pulling him down. Kane comes over, and he gets Irish whipped into the steps. Triple H whips Undertaker into the barricade, and then Kane chokeslams Triple H off of the apron through the announce table. And I am just in awe of Triple H taking that bump with his injury, dude. And you can tell this was just the spot they were trying to get to here.
Yeah.
Because Triple H takes it, and then he's pretty much out of commission here for a while. But I mean, kudos to him for getting to this moment and not calling an audible and just be like, just do it, man. It's not gonna get any worse. Yeah. I'll just take it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he could have said, nah, let's not go with that spot. But he didn't, man. He goes through with it. And Renee has a great line here. She says, this looks like the scene of a crime, which is true with Triple H laying there with his pec torn off. And it's been another, 8-9 minutes now that he's been wrestling. So It's just crazy, man. And at this point, Sean's on the apron and Taker hits the apron, leg drop on him again, just going for that classic stuff. And kind of crawls over and just stares down on Triple H and intimidates him, but I think in reality he's probably checking on him as well as his buddy, and he's like,
right.
all right, brother? But he's doing, character-wise, he's intimidating him over there, and he picks Sean up and rolls him in the ring and hits a cover for 2, and then he takes a page out of Ric Flair's book and goes for the cover again.
Yes,
and I love it. He puts his forearm over the face, and I just absolutely love that he's playing a little dirty here. That's great.
Taker's going to drag Shawn Michaels over to the corner. Tag team specialist here. He tags in Kane. And this is where the match, in my opinion, really starts to slow down and starts to fall apart here, man. They got to that moment at the table, and then I think they were just didn't know what to do to fill the next 5 to 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stalling, a lot of just ground and pound from Kane and Undertaker, just working him over, slowing things down a lot, just picking him apart slowly. Frequent tags from Kane and Taker. Kane gives what? One of them gives Shawn Michaels a suplex. Taker comes in, hits some more punches, some more ground and pound, and the announcers say Triple H is getting checked on by a doctor on the outside. And so the Brothers of Destruction are really just stalling here to see if Triple H is going to be able to even get to the finish.
Yeah, and one thing that Corey Graves actually says is during this, part where they're kind of just stalling, and he says, this match has turned into a horror story come to life, which he has no idea what's about to happen. So I think it's funny though. But Taker's doing rear naked chokes, and Kane's choking Shawn with his foot. It's just weird stuff that you wouldn't normally see in a match like this. But yeah, they got to do what they got to do to make sure Triple H can continue or not, But Shawn keeps fighting back against it. Despite all this, he's fighting back, and Kane's hitting sidewalk slam, and then Kane goes up top, but Shawn crotches him, and Kane just falls from the top rope into the ring. You don't see that often, and all 4 guys are down, and commentary's really, really trying to put over what, probably was a good story, but Triple H's injuries kind of derailed a little bit of it. Again, it's no fault of his. I mean, it's what it is. But
there's that going on. I mean, these guys are excuse me, these guys are all a little bit older. They're looking a little bit gassed. They're starting to show their age at this point.
When Kane falls off and face plant, it's it does not look crisp. It's
yes,
he probably shouldn't have been up there, man.
Yeah. Well, just wait and see. As Taker ends up pulling Shawn Michaels out of the ring, but Shawn shoves Taker into the ring post, and then Shawn crawls back into the ring. Kane shoves him into the corner, and he puts Shawn Michaels up on the top rope, and Kane's going to head to the top rope, but Shawn punches Kane. And then, as commentary puts it, Shawn punches Kane so hard that his mask falls off his face. And just so happens that his hair falls off his face too. And this is just, this is where it just becomes a comedy of errors at this point. Dude, Kane's mask comes off, and his hair, and it's just bald corporate Kane. It's so... We all know right. It's a wig, but then when it falls off in the middle of the match, it's so embarrassing.
Exactly. That's the thing. I
no.
I literally laughed
You have to.
out loud watching it because I've never seen anything like that. I've seen Sting wrestle and his paint comes off and you can see his whole face.
Sure.
I've seen Rey Mysterio or Ultimo Dragon's mask get, move. They have to fight with the whole time. You've seen that. You've seen stuff like that. You've seen
it's Shockmaster. It's on that level.
Yeah, it really is. This is Shockmaster, Titus World Slide, then this. This is I mean, his hair is connected to it.
He's supposed to be the Demon Kane, and
Sean has
his
been working
hair
out his
falls
right
off.
punch for 8.5 years. He's been building up his right fist, and he can hit you so hard. So his hair flies off. Maybe he practiced on himself, and he punched himself, and his hair flew off. So that's what happened.
It's
now
cursed,
he's like,
man.
I got a good move. I can punch.
No, it's just cursed.
His hair flies off. I've never seen anything like this. It's so good.
Goodness.
But I mean, so Kane's hair and face fly off, and Sean is still on the top rope, and Taker's still on the outside, and Kane, we don't see him, but he's disappeared to the outside, probably to fetch his mask. So Sean's up top, and he goes for a moonsault. And when he goes for it to the outside, which again, he's like 50 or almost 50 or over 50, whatever. He shouldn't be doing this, but it's impressive to see. But boy, the Brothers of Destruction do not catch him. I mean, he splits them like bowling pins. I mean, he barely catches Taker on like the shoulder and just crashes and burns hard. And you can see Taker pat him on the chest like, whoops, not bad.
This is like one of our backyard matches, man. Like the masks falling off, just like not catching each other. Yeah. Sean's got a bloody nose after this, man. It's just like, oh man. And it really was not going that bad up to this point.
It wasn't.
Oh man.
But yeah, that the hair flying off, the botched moonsault, and then to even put a finer point on it, we come back from a replay of that, and Kane's got his hair and face.
Of course he does.
He's putting it back on the outside.
You can't. You have to.
I would have left it off. It's like on Raw this week. Shelton Benjamin came out and had his mask on and didn't realize it. And he goes, "Oh!" And like it was fun. I wish he just left it on. Man. It would have been so funny. I was watching it live. I was like, "This is great." I wish he just left it on, man. At that point, you just leave it on. You be that guy. Yeah. I wish Kane just left his hair off, man.
He's like, "Oh shoot!"
Yeah, it was great, dude. It was great.
Well, somehow they've got to finish this match after all of this insanity here. So Kane, he throws the mask back on, and Triple H somehow is back in things. He's on the apron. Maybe just the adrenaline of laughing at all this ridiculousness has made him forget about his pain. As Shawn Michaels crawls over to him, Kane tries to stop him, but Triple H tags back in, and he does what he can to make this hot comeback, dude. He's trying, dude. He hits the knee lift. It's a spine buster on Undertaker. He goes for a pedigree, but Undertaker gives him a back body drop out of it. Taker goes for a tombstone, but Triple H blocks it, and he does connect with a pedigree somehow.
Yeah, somehow, some way he does, and then Kane gets up with his hair, and he gets in, but Triple H actually tosses him out of the ring, and then Triple H goes back over to Taker, and Taker's going to lock him into Hell's Gate. He's kind of playing possum there. So locks Triple H in Hell's Gate. Shawn crawls in, and Kane goes to get him and goes to chokeslam him, but Shawn slips out and actually hits Sweet Chin Music. And this is a cool spot. So he hits Sweet Chin Music, which causes Kane to tumble backward and fall on Taker, which breaks up the Hell's Gate, which I like that spot.
That was a good spot.
I thought it was clever. You'd seen some stuff like that in like a lot of cruiserweight matches in like 98, 97 in WCW, but like this was a really clever spot for big dudes, to do. And I thought it was a really, really smart booking there.
Kane's going to go for a chokeslam on Shawn Michaels, but Shawn... Oh, whoops. You just said all that. So all four guys are out at that moment, but Undertaker and Kane do the classic sit-up, and Shawn and Triple H get up. They walk into stereo tombstones, but as Kane and Undertaker are holding both guys up in the tombstone position, Shawn is going to reach over and rake Kane's eyes, and that allows Triple H to get out, and Shawn wiggles out as well. He hits Sweet Chin Music to The Undertaker, which takes him out. And then he hits Sweet Chin Music to Kane. Kane bounces over into Triple H, who hits a pedigree on him, WrestleMania 28 style. And then
Super Showdown style.
And Super Showdown style as Triple H gets the pin, and it is shows over here for the Brothers of Destruction as DX does pick up the win in 27 minutes and 50 seconds. So Shawn wins his big comeback match. The Brothers of Destruction get DX gets the last word over the Brothers of Destruction here. Triple H somehow manages to make it through the end of this match here.
Yeah.
And man, what do you even say about all this?
Well, I'll tell you what we say. This is fast forward real quick to Shawn. Shawn, immediately you see Shawn backing in the corner, and Triple H kind of crawls over to him, and they kind of hug, and we see a replay of the ending, and we come back, and Shawn just looks at Triple H and goes, "We're too old for this."
Yep.
I love it, man. And
they're smiling, they're laughing.
You can see that they're smiling and laughing out of disappointment, not out of the fact that, oh, we just had a blast. No, they're smiling and laughing at like, what the bleep? Like, yeah, they're just, what just happened? Yeah. But I'll tell you what, man, like, I thought it was weird that Shawn, it was against traditional booking that Shawn didn't get the win. If DX going to win, you'd think Shawn would get the win because it's a comeback match. But I bet that he was like, I don't want that. I bet that he didn't want that because he wanted Triple H to win it because he's like, this is a one-time thing. I'm done, But I don't know. I'm just speculating there. But and Triple H didn't get the win over Taker again, but he beat Kane here. But I knew Kane was going to get a pinfall if they were going to lose. So, but yeah, I thought it was surprising seeing Triple H beat him. I did not expect that when I watched it. I thought Shawn was going to get the win for sure.
Two months in a row, Triple H gets the win
push,
over
baby.
the Brothers of Destruction. Triple H must pedigree,
Yeah.
Even with a torn pec.
You got to get ready for that Batista match next year.
They got the fireworks going off here. DX stands tall at the end of this night, and you know what, man? Revisiting it 3 years later, if you just clip the match from the wig falling off and the moonsault. And a couple minutes before that, where they're just kind of stalling for time, not a bad match.
They checked all the boxes it needed to.
It's like
that point.
There's a 5-minute sequence in the match that's very, very bad. Like I'm not gonna try to gloss over that. It's very bad. It has one of the most embarrassing moments in a professional match of all time. Not gonna deny that.
Yeah.
It's actually not that bad as a whole. If you take it as a whole, the first 15 minutes, especially with Triple H injured, and you factor that in with how well he's able to perform with that, and then the finish is actually really good and really creative.
I think the finish is great.
There's 20 minutes of a good match in there, but there's also 5 to 10 minutes of one of the worst matches of all time in there.
Exactly.
So it's hard to say, man. Like, to me, it's not the worst match ever by any means because there's a lot of good in it. There's definitely some terrible stuff in it, but I think it's definitely not fair for anyone who calls this one of the worst matches of all time.
Oh, no, by no means. Because like you said, it's like calling a great movie that has one bad scene a terrible movie because of one bad scene, you know what I'm saying? So it doesn't ruin the whole movie, but it definitely... it is a Botchamania highlight reel, though, this ending part.
Sure.
For sure.
You can't deny that.
But, there's no doubt these guys gave it everything they had. And they don't, and we keep saying this, and it's not like I'm an old man, apologist, but, these guys don't owe us this at that point in their career. Kane doesn't have to take personal time away from his duties as a mayor and fly to Saudi Arabia and do this match. You know what I'm saying? Taker is old. He doesn't have to do this. Triple H is a corporate job. He's head of NXT. He doesn't have to do this and take these bumps, especially not with a torn pec. And Shawn does not have to come out of retirement for the fans to put on one more show. He did not. He didn't know us anything. So I was I give them a lot of benefit of the doubt, and I know they had something special planned. And then I think even in the Last Ride documentary, I don't know the exact quote, but Triple H, I remember literally laughing out loud when he's like, what were we thinking? He's like, Kane's the mayor. and like we're all 50, and Sean hadn't wrestled in forever, but like just the way he says it, he's like, I look up and Kane's head falls out. It's just there's so many bad things. I feel bad for them because they wanted something really, really epic, and they didn't get it. It's like Justice League. Like you knew that Zack Snyder had been building up to all this stuff for his cinematic universe, and it was supposed to be really good, and then he has to step away, and Joss Whedon comes in and then craps all over it, and the movie is laughed at and yada yada. But I still give Zack Snyder the benefit of the doubt for what he had planned. He's gonna have his new version come out. Yeah, but anyway, I'm just saying, like, we'll see how it is. It's not for everybody, but like, it's a lot of build up and a lot of hype and a lot of promotion for something that got turned sideways, at the last minute. So, well, as this match,
as we see Shawn Michaels say in the Last Ride documentary, missed it by that much.
Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah. And
it's as we learned in that Last Ride documentary, it's one of the reasons why Undertaker keeps quote unquote chasing the dragon, why he keeps continuing on for the next few matches, looking for that perfect thing to end his career on, because he's not going to do it with this. Maybe if this match could have gone a little bit more according to plan, maybe this would have been a great one to call the day on, a historic one, but it's not satisfying enough, understandably, here. And, as far as going back and rewatching it, I'd say probably don't. You could probably just, like you say, pretend it's an alternate world, pretend it never happened. It's definitely not as bad as people make it out to be as a whole, but you don't need, just remember the WrestleMania matches and leave it at that. Right. Or even the Australia match is not that bad. You could keep that one, but probably just skip over this one.
Yeah. And, you can tell it wasn't what they wanted because the way the show ends, they're just kind of nonchalant in the ring, just kind of like, see ya. There's like fireworks, like my year's salary times 5 of fireworks blowing up on top of this arena. And then they're just kind of like, whatever, in the middle of the ring. It's not this shot that Vince wanted, to go off the pay-per-view. And unfortunately, that's going to carry over into the next Saudi show as well.
Yes, also main event about yes, it is. We'll keep rolling.
Again, not his fault though.
On to the Last Ride. I guess we're gonna get a flat tire or something as we we head to another Super Showdown. This time, it's the dream match of the Undertaker versus Goldberg that does turn into a nightmare. But we'll have plenty of time to talk about that next week.
Yeah.
We want to hear your comments about this week, about this match. You know where to find us at this point, folks. We are at Talking Taker on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Before we get to your comments, I just want to read some stats real quick about the Brothers of Destruction, because this is the last match ever with the Brothers of Destruction. And we kind of talked about it a little bit, but it's really interesting how iconic we think of them, how memorable they are, but really how little and how few matches they have as far as pay-per-view goes. They were honest; they only had 6 pay-per-view matches as a tag team out of these 181 shows we've done.
That's
only
crazy.
6 of them have been the Brothers of Destruction, and they have a 3-3 record on pay-per-view. So they're 50-50 in pay-per-view matches. They never competed at a WrestleMania together, which I think is a huge disappointment as far as Undertaker's career. They were 2-time WWE Tag Team Champions and 1-time WCW Tag Team Champions.
Yes, sir.
And they were also 2-time winners of the Wrestling Observer Worst Match of the Year award for this match in 2018. And then you got a guess for the other one?
The Chronic match in 2001.
Yes, you're spot on.
Yeah.
So
one's a win, one's a loss.
What an achievement right there.
There you go.
Of course, we did ask for y'all's comments here, and I got some good GIF comments from Zach L217 when I asked for your thoughts on this match, and he shared the Homer Simpson backing into the bushes, and Princeton John gave us the Water Boy, Adam Sandler, just giving us kind of a nervous look to the camera.
Ooh.
All right. Rachel Struck said the build-up was awesome. The match, not so much, which is pretty accurate. Richard Assan said, I was gutted that HBK returned, and it was just a mess the whole match. I wanted it to be great, and it just wasn't. Which,
Go back and watch it, buddy. It wasn't a mess the whole match.
Not terrible, but certainly not great. Again, like we said, a lot of a few people out there correcting me on my Fosters, telling me that's not what the true Aussies don't drink. Ben 10 000 said they don't drink that over there. Sean Buchanan told me that. The Raw is Nitro podcast told me that. So, okay, point taken. And then want to give a shout out to a couple other podcasts real quick. The Max Wrestling podcast. You've heard me be a guest on their podcast a couple times. I went on this past week again to try to reclaim the Knowledge Championship. So did a little trivia competition with them. So go check that out to hear the results of that. And then another new podcast in the vein of ours and in the vein of the Bottom Line Wrestling Cast, Travis. We have now the Excellently Executed podcast, which is going through the career of the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Bret the Hit Man.
Bret Hart, that's awesome, man.
Bret Hart is a great idea. He's not doing it match by match. He's just kind of like picking and choosing and doing some random ones. So he's kind of jumping around the career.
Not a chronological thing.
Not chronological, but I listened to the first episode. He's got 3 episodes out. Really enjoyed it, actually. It's only like 20 minutes, so it's kind of like our early episodes. And he's got some really insightful analysis on there. And definitely go check it out. If you like what we're doing, if you're into this style, go follow him along, because we're closing on the end. So you might need another podcast to put into your podcast feed here when we get done here in just a couple of months. And I did interact with a few of you folks out on social media talking about our future. So, just the quick answer for a lot of you who've been asking, we don't know. We're going to finish this up in a few weeks. We've bounced some ideas off of each other. I think we both definitely want to take a little breather and recover from 3 years of obsessing over one guy's career. As much fun as we've had, we want to go see our families again and get back to doing that for a little while. But I have really enjoyed this. I know Travis has as well. We have talked about other ideas. Don't count us out. You may hear from us yet again. I'll just say that. So we'll take some time. We will go more in depth talking about it. We'll have a few phone calls here someday soon, and we'll settle on what we might do next. But we got some great ideas from you. I appreciate those. I thought you guys had some cool ideas for what we could do next, and so I do appreciate that from everybody. But just keep us in your podcast feed whenever we end here in March. We should hit our finale in March, but just keep us in your podcast feed, and you may see us pop up again. Who knows?
Exactly. There you go. Well, before we sign off, you got a early birthday present that came to you, and I ordered your Christmas present. It came like month early, and ordered your birthday present. It came a week and a half early. So.
About a week early, once this episode drops.
Your birthday will be the Friday. Well, next week's episode.
Next week's episode will be my 35th birthday. I'm officially no longer relevant as far as the advertising and anything like that. I'm out of the 18 to 34 range.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do appreciate this, man. I've opened a few gifts from you. You've opened a couple from me on the show, but here's one more. It's probably our last one. But appreciate that, man. Always so kind to give me a birthday gift. It's a light box. I don't know quite what it is.
Yeah.
I don't have a guess quite yet.
You don't have a guess?
I honestly don't. I have no idea.
It's took a different route this time,
A little
actually.
bit different route.
A little bit different route this time.
Speaking of the end of the show.
Exactly.
Got the Boneyard match Funko Pop.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that is That's beautiful.
It's new, and I saw it, and I was like, man, I've only ever gotten you like his opponents, and
right, Heidenreich, Kennedy. Yeah.
But I thought this one was pretty cool. I don't know if you have any Funko Pops; they're kind of weird, but I know it's a big collectible. I just thought that one really stands out, and how we're kind of winding down at the end of his career here. I thought it would be a cool one to have, because that was his last match. So
yeah, dude, this is awesome.
Do you have any of his other Funko Pops?
I don't have any of his. I have a Sergeant Slaughter Funko Pop. Someone else gave to me.
Who better than to have Sarge and Boneyard?
Dude, that is
look at that guy.
Great,
look at
man.
Character from South Park or something.
But it's spot on, dude. It's got the XT on the back. It's got the ponytail. Got his tats.
Yeah,
his vest
awesome,
looks
man.
just like it. Bandana, man. I love this. This is it's
great.
Going front and center.
I thought it was a cool looking one, man.
Yeah, dude.
I thought it was pretty
awesome.
cool. And yeah, I took a different route, man. I just didn't want you to expect. You gotta,
I gotta
respect the unexpected here. So
that's perfect.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about this match very, very soon.
Yeah, very soon.
Match of the year, 2020.
Exactly, baby. So yeah, I thought
Thank
that's
you, sir.
a good way to remember that. Yeah, happy birthday. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Even though it's next week, but whatever.
Love you, brother.
You too, man. You too. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you were in the King Saud University Stadium in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, boy, do we want to hear from you.
Yes, we do.
Boy, oh boy. Again, it was what it was, and go back and. Never mind. Don't watch it. Just remember what it was. But were you one that if you were in the audience, did you see Kane's hair fly off and wonder what the heck just happened? So who knows, man. But anyway, as always, we thank you for your support over these years. Seems like we're getting some new listeners too, just judging by the social media posts and stuff. It's kind of cool. So, but you longtime listeners, thank you guys for always interacting. And as we close down the last ride here, getting there shortly, we're just trying to make the most out of these, trying to squeeze as much juice out of these matches that we have coming up. So other than that, ladies and gentlemen out there, stay safe, and as always, take her easy.